Did you know that a small 5-cent coin in your pocket could actually be worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars? Today, we are going to uncover the secrets behind 4 special Jefferson Nickels: the 1974 Nickel, the 1989 P, the 1990 D, and the 1996 D. Some of these coins may look ordinary, but wait until you hear about the rare errors, hidden varieties, and shocking auction prices. Stay with me until the end, because the last coin might surprise you the most.
The Jefferson Nickel was first introduced in 1938, replacing the Buffalo Nickel. Designed by Felix Schlag, it features President Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his famous home, Monticello, on the reverse. The 1974 nickel is part of this long-running series, and although it seems common, it carries historical significance. By 1974, the U.S. Mint was producing billions of coins, but inflation and rising metal prices made even low-denomination coins important. Portrait of Thomas Jefferson facing left. The inscriptions "In God We Trust" on the left, liberty, and the date 1974 on the right. If a mint mark is present, D for Denver, S for San Francisco, it's located to the right of the date. Monticello, Jefferson's Virginia home. E pluribus unum at the top, Monticello in the center, 5 cents. And United States of America below. Edge, plain, no reeds. 1974 Philadelphia, over 601 million coins struck. No mint mark. 1974 AD Denver, about 277 million coins struck. Marked with AD. 1974 AS San Francisco, only 2.6 million. Proof coins made specially for collectors. These are the rarest of the year. In total, almost 900 million nickels were made in 1974, so they are generally common, but condition and error change the story. Weight, 5 grams. Diameter, 21.2 millimeters. Composition, 75% copper, 25% nickel. Nickel cladding over copper core. This alloy gives the coin its silver gray color, even though it contains no actual silver. This is where the real excitement comes in. Some 1,974 nickels with mistakes can be very valuable, doubling on Jefferson's eye, mouth, or inscriptions. Collectors pay premiums for strong doubling. Doubling seen on Monticello or 5 cents. Coins struck off-center by 5 to 50%. Value can jump from $20 to $200 plus. On the Monticello building, if all the steps are fully visible and sharply struck, the coin is called a full steps nickel. A 1974 AD full steps nickel can bring hundreds of dollars in high grades. A coin with a curved piece missing due to a mistake in cutting blanks, rare and collectible. Circulate condition, usually just face value, 5 cents. Uncirculated can be worth $10 to $20. Proof 1974 S, typically $3 to $8, but deep cameo examples can go much higher. Full steps examples, the real treasure A. 1974 AD in MS-66 with full steps once sold for over $1,000 at auction. Rare errors, depending on severity, prices can range from $50 to several $100. Always check Monticello's steps carefully with a magnifying glass. Look for strong strikes, luster, and minimal contact marks. Proof coins should have mirror-like fields and frosted devices. Keep coins in protective holders to maintain value. So, the 1974 Jefferson Nickel might not seem rare at first glance, but hidden treasures are out there, whether in the form of full steps, varieties, rare errors, or pristine proofs. Check your change, because one of these nickels could be sitting in your pocket right now, worth far more than just 5 cents. In 1974, the U.S. was dealing with the aftermath of the Vietnam War, the Watergate scandal, and inflation. Coins like the nickel were still heavily used in everyday transactions, payphones, vending machines, and public transportation. Collectors often link coins with their era, so the 1974 nickel carries the feel of 1970s America. Jefferson Nickel longevity. The Jefferson design was used from 1938 until 2003 without major changes, making it one of the longest-running designs in U.S. coinage history. In 2004 and 2005, the U.S. Mint changed the reverse designs for the Westward Journey series before introducing the modern portrait in 2006. This makes coins from the 1970s part of the classic Jefferson era. The minting process in 1974. The U.S. Mint in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco was modernizing during the 1970s. High-speed presses struck hundreds of coins per minute, which explains why weak strikes and missing details like the steps on Monticello are common. Proof coins from San Francisco were struck multiple times with polished dies, giving them mirror-like fields. On many 1974 nickels, the steps of Monticello appears blurry because the dies wore out quickly. Coins with 5 or 6 sharp, distinct steps are called full steps and are very scarce. Collectors chase these because they prove the coin was struck with fresh dies and preserved well. Next 5 cents. 1989 P. The Jefferson Nickel was first introduced in 1938, replacing the buffalo. The design came from Felix Schlag, a talented sculptor. On the obverse we have the bust of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States and author of the Declaration of Independence. On the reverse, you see Monticello Jefferson's famous Virginia estate. By 1989, this design had already been in circulation for over 50 years, and it was one of the longest-running coin designs in U.S. history. Now, let's focus on 1989. The P mint mark tells us that this nickel was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Total mintage about 1.46 billion coins. Yes, more than 1 billion nickels. That means it was a very common coin for circulation. The Philadelphia Mint at this time was using high-speed presses, striking millions of coins every single day. The composition of the 1989 P nickel is the standard 75% copper and 25% nickel, with a total weight of 5 grams and a diameter of 21.2 millimeters. In the center is Jefferson's bust facing left. Above his head you see the motto "In God We Trust." On the left rim is the word liberty. followed by the date 1989. And just beside the date, you'll see the small p mint mark for Philadelphia. The strike quality on these nickels varied, since such a high mintage means dies wore down quickly. Some 1989 P nickels have weaker details on Jefferson's hair and cheekbone. On the reverse is the famous Monticello building Jefferson's home in Virginia. Across the top you'll read E pluribus unum. Below the image of Monticello you see the word Monticello. Just under that, the denomination 5 cents. And at the bottom, United States of America. Collectors often look at how sharp the details are on Monticello's steps. Full, sharp steps are rare on Jefferson nickels, and they dramatically increase value. Now, this is the part collectors love: the errors and varieties. Some known error types for the 1989 P include where part of the design is missing. These can be worth anywhere from $20 to $200 depending on how dramatic the error is. Noticeable on the date or lettering, these are much rarer, and values can range from $50 to several $100s. This is the most desirable for serious Jefferson Nickel collectors. A 1989 P with 6 sharp steps visible on Monticello can fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars at auction, depending on condition. Let's talk about the real money. How much is a 1989 P nickel worth? Circulate condition: most are only worth face value 5 cents. Uncirculated examples: mint state 62, 63, usually $1 to $3. High-grade mint state, these can go for $10 to $25. With full steps designation, here's where it gets exciting. These can be worth hundreds of dollars, sometimes crossing over $1,000 at top auctions. For example, one MS67 full steps 1989 P nickel sold for over $3,000 in a professional auction. So why collect a 1989 P nickel if it's so common? Well, first of all, it's part of American history. This was the final decade of the Cold War, and Jefferson's ideals of democracy was still very symbolic. Secondly, nickels are a perfect beginner's coin for new collectors. Even a common nickel can hold hidden gems in high grades or error types. The 1989 P Jefferson Nickel might be one of the most common coins in circulation, but like many coins, its story is far richer than its face value. With billions minted, most are just pocket change, but the rare high-grade examples, error coins, and especially those with full steps, can be worth a small fortune. So next time you're going through your spare change, keep your eyes open. That plain old nickel could actually be a collector's treasure. 1989 was the final year of the 1980s, a decade of major change in America. The Berlin Wall fell in 1989, marking the near the end of the Cold War. Jefferson's image on the coin symbolized liberty, democracy, and American values. During a time of global transition, Philadelphia Mint in 1989. The Philadelphia Mint was one of the busiest mints in the world at that time. Apart from nickels, it produced billions of cents, dimes, quarters, and half dollars. The P mint mark had only been used since 1980 for nickels. Before that, Philadelphia coins usually had no mint Mark. Condition sensitivity. Most 1989 P nickels were used in circulation, meaning they quickly picked up scratches and wear. That's why finding a gem quality coin in MS66 or MS67 condition is rare. Collectors often say Jefferson Nickels are harder to find in top condition than other denominations. Proof versions. While Philadelphia made circulation strikes, the San Francisco Mint S produced proof nickels in 1989. Proof nickels have mirror-like surfaces and were sold directly to collectors in proof sets. A 1989 S proof nickel in or can still sell for $20 to $50, while rare cameo or deep cameo finishes may go higher 5 cents. 1990 D. Before we get into the specific 1990 D, let's quickly revisit the story of the Jefferson Nickel. The Jefferson Nickel was first introduced in 1938, replacing the Buffalo Nickel. The design was created by Felix Schlag, a German-born American sculptor, after he won a design competition. The obverse features the portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third U.S. President and author of the Declaration of Independence. The reverse shows Monticello Jefferson's famous Virginia home. This design remained unchanged for decades, making it one of the longest-running coin designs in the U.S. history. By 1990, the Jefferson Nickel had already been in circulation for 52 years, and it was still going strong. Now, let's zoom in on the 1990 D nickel. The D mint mark tells us it was struck at the Denver Mint. Total mintage 1,479,442,476 coins. Yes. That's over 1.4 billion nickels minted in Denver alone. In addition to Denver, nickels were also produced at the Philadelphia Mint in 1990, but the Denver ones are marked with a clear D mint mark located to the right of Jefferson's portrait. This extremely high mintage means the coin is not rare in circulation, but condition plays a huge role in its value. The left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson. The inscriptions "In God We Trust," Liberty, and the date 1990. The D mint mark right next to the date. The beautiful image of Monticello. The inscriptions "E pluribus unimat." The top Monticello across the building, 5 cents underneath, and United States of America at the bottom. Though simple, this design became iconic in American coinage. Here's where things get exciting for collectors. Even a common nickel can become valuable if it has minting errors. Some possible 1990 D Jefferson Nickel errors include off-center strikes where part of the design is missing, double die errors doubling on letters or numbers, clipped planchets where part of the coin is cut off, die cracks and cuds, raised lines or blobs caused by a damaged die. If you find a 1990 D nickel with these errors, it could be worth tens or even hundreds of dollars depending on the severity. Now, let's break down the value of the 1990 D Jefferson Nickel. In circulated condition, most are only worth 5 cents. In uncirculated mint state condition, values can rise MS-60, about 25 cents to 50 cents. MS-65, around $5 to $10. MS-67 and above, these can jump into the $50 to $100 plus range because they are much harder to find. For example, the highest grade 1990 D nickel ever sold at auction reached over $1,000 because of its superb condition. And I appeal. If it's worn, probably not unless you just enjoy filling your album. Look for coins with full steps on. Monticello collectors love nickels with sharp, full-step details. Always check for errors. If you come across one in uncirculated condition, put it aside in a protective holder. Did you know in 1990 the average U.S. wage was about $10 an hour, meaning people earn just 2 nickels every 6 seconds of work? Also, nickels have always been made of 75% copper and 25% nickel even in 1990, making them very durable coins. In 1990, the U.S. Mint was still using the same design introduced in 1938 by Felix Schlag. At this time, collectors were already debating whether the design should be changed because Jefferson's portrait had been on the coin for over 50 years. The Mint would eventually redesign the Jefferson Nickel in 2004 to 2006 with the Westward Journey series, and then again in 2006 with a new forward-facing Jefferson portrait. So the 1990 D nickel was part of the last era of the classic Jefferson design. The Denver Mint, where this coin was struck, has been one of the most productive mints in U.S. history. By 1990, it was making billions of coins annually, and the 1990 D nickel was one of its massive productions. Interestingly, the Denver Mint is known for producing coins with better strike quality compared to Philadelphia in that era, which means 1990 D nickels sometimes look sharper. Before we focus on the 1996 D coin itself, let's rewind a little. The Jefferson Nickel series began in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel. The U.S. Mint held a public design competition, and the winning design was created by sculptor Felix Schlag. His portrait of President Thomas Jefferson became an American icon, staying on the nickel for decades. By 1996, this design had already been in use for 58 years, making it one of the longest-running designs in U.S. coinage history. This consistency makes every Jefferson Nickel, including the 1996 D, a continuation of American tradition. Now, let's look closely at the 1996 D nickel. You'll find the left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson, designed by Felix Schlag. The word liberty appears to the left of his face, while the motto "In God We Trust" is written on the right side. At the bottom, you'll see the year 1996 along with the mintmark D for Denver. On the reverse, you'll see Jefferson's famous home, Monticello, which is located in Charlottesville, Virginia. Above Monticello, the word E pluribus unum is inscribed, which means out of many. One below Monticello, the word Monticello is written along with 5 cents and United States of America. This design is clean, simple, and highly recognizable to any American. Metal composition. The 1996 D nickel, like most nickels from 1946 onward, is composed of 75% copper, 25% nickel. It weighs 5 grams and has a diameter of 21.2 millimeters. This composition gives the coin its classic silvery look, though it's actually mostly copper underneath. Mintage and production. Now, this is where the 1996 D nickel becomes interesting. At the Denver Mint in 1996, a total of 1,094,524,000 nickels were struck. That's over 1.09 billion coins. This makes it a very common coin, easily found in circulation even today. Because of this high mintage, most 1996 D nickels are only worth face value unless they are in pristine condition or have errors. But don't worry. We'll get to the error coins shortly. Grading and value. Collectors judge the value of a coin based on its grade, which measures its condition. Circulated condition worn worth only 5 cents. Uncirculated mint state worth around 25 cents to $1. High mint state can be worth $5 to $15. Gem quality very rare and can sell for $300 to $600 or more, depending on eye appeal and strike quality. In fact, some 1996 D nickels graded or NGC have sold for over $1,000 at auction. This is why collectors always look for perfectly struck examples with sharp details and no scratches. Errors and varieties. Now, here's the exciting part: error coins. Error nickels are what really get collectors' hearts racing, because they are both rare and valuable. Some known errors for the 1996 D nickel include: if the design is misaligned, part of the blank surface shows the more dramatic the off-center, the higher the value. Double die obverse, DDO, look for doubling in the word liberty or the date. These coins can be worth $20 to $100 plus. Die cracks and die chips, small raised lines or blobs of metal on Jefferson's face or Monticello can increase interest. Monticello has steps leading up to the building. If all 6 steps are fully visible and well struck, the coin is considered a full steps nickel. These are very rare for 1996 D and can sell for hundreds of dollars in high grade. So if you have a 1996 D nickel, check the steps on Monticello carefully. Collecting the 1996 D nickel. The Jefferson Nickel series is very popular with collectors because it's affordable and widely available. Many people try to build a full set including every date and mint mark from 1938 to the present. The 1996 D isn't rare, but it's still an important piece of the puzzle for completing a collection. Collectors often save rolls of these nickels in uncirculated condition, hoping that some may turn out to be high-grade gems in the future. Fun facts. The year 1996 marked the 250th anniversary of Thomas Jefferson's birth, though the coin itself wasn't specially redesigned until later years. Denver Mint coins are marked with a small D, a mint mark, located to the right of the date. If you compare a 1996 D nickel to a nickel from the early 1940s, you'll notice subtle differences in strike sharpness and design details due to changes in minting technology, modern market demand. Even though billions were minted, collectors still search for the best examples. With grading services like and NGC, high-quality 1996 D nickels with full steps designations have become valuable investments. Some auction results include full steps over $1,200, regular $400 to $600, off-center errors $100 to $300 depending on severity. So while most are worth just 5 cents a few select coins can be worth serious money. Conclusion. So, to wrap it up, the 1996 D Jefferson Nickel might seem like just another pocket change coin, but it carries history, artistry, and potential value. With over a billion minted, it's common but error coins, full steps, varieties, and high-grade gems can bring big rewards. If you ever find one in your change, don't dismiss it. Take a closer look. You never know when you might be holding a small treasure. So, the next time you come across a 1974, 1989 P, 1990 D, or 1996 D nickel, don't dismiss it as just pocket change. Look closely, because you could be holding a rare variety worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. If you enjoyed discovering the hidden value of these nickels, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with fellow coin collectors. And remember, the rarest treasures often hide in plain sight, right inside your pocket.